Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Game Changer. I am Mariam Zia. In today's program, we will be talking about three important topics. Firstly, we will be talking about the upcoming visit of Interim Prime Minister Anwaarul to participate in ECO summit. Prime Minister Kakar will be leaving tomorrow to participate in the 16th Economic Cooperation Organization Summit that is being held in Tashkent, Uzbekistan on 8th and 9th November. This is an important summit, and of course we know that ECO Heads of Forum, Heads of States Forum is an apex body, apex forum for strategic vision. And Pakistan is one of the founding members of ECO, and Pakistan is committed to the concepts and the agenda of regional connectivity and cooperation among the member states. Of course, there are 10 member states when we talk about ECO, and in today's program we will be talking about Vision 2025 of ECO, and of course the summit that is being held, that is also to evaluate the progress on different initiatives and projects of ECO as well. In today's program, we will be talking about Pakistan's commitment and Pakistan's vision for the work of ECO. And secondly, we will be talking about Palestine situation and Gaza situation. Pakistan has also sent humanitarian aid today as well to Gaza, and how the international community is responding to that we will be discussing later in the program. And lastly, we will be talking about the recent surge of terrorism in Pakistan, the elements behind it, and how Pakistan is coping with these elements. To discuss this and more, we are joined in the studios by a senior analyst, Mr. Naveed Amman. Welcome to the program. We are also joined by international affairs expert, Dr. Zafar Nawaz Jaspal. Welcome to the program. And we are joined online by Brigadier Retired Hamid Malik, who is senior analyst. Welcome to the program. Dr. Jaspal, let me start with you. Of course, this summit is very important when we talk about the timings. In your opinion, what are the geopolitical implications of PM visit to this important ECO summit?
I think that this summit, or you can say Economic Cooperation Organization, is an economic forum. Certainly, Prime Minister's participation in the summit will be going to have an impact on the regional geoeconomic situation. But the term which you use, the geopolitical, we cannot underestimate, because the world is in a transition, especially there is a war in Palestine, and the world government's insensitivity is there. Of course, we are discussing this in the later part of the section of today's Game Changer. So that is a very critical point. The second most important thing is that if you see that ECO members, and if you see originally, ECO is an extension, or you can say 1917 RCD ended, and in following years the ECO was created. The primary objective was that if you see the Central Asian states, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Turkey and Iran, they are all Muslim states, that they are geographically a grouping. Geographically they are connected, as Central Asian states are landlocked states, and the other states want to have a connectivity. 2 years back, I mean 2021, Pakistan sent a consignment from Karachi through Iran to Turkey, and from Turkey they have planned to go to Azerbaijan. So the primary focus is to materialize Pakistan's 2017, when the 2017 summit held in Islamabad. Regional connectivity was the motto of that, and we wanted trade, tourism, cultural, scientific development, and Pakistan is also host of one out of the three forum, which we call it by the ECO Scientific Forum, and these are the this is very important politically, what is happening around the world, and at the same time Pakistan's internal issue. If you see that Pakistan's internally, we have a very devastating these terrorist attacks in the recent, started from the Barbarism.
Right, we will be discussing in detail about the recent surge of terrorist attacks in Pakistan.
But I'm linking it with the ECO.
Of course.
Because my final point is that ECO member is Afghanistan, and Pakistan has been trying to sensitize the Taliban government that please assist us in tackling the Taliban Pakistan, or these terrorist groups which are operating from Afghanistan. So I think the Prime Minister will get an opportunity on the sidelines of the meeting to highlight this issue with them bilaterally as well.
Of course, that is very important. And Brigadier Hamid, in your opinion, what are some of the challenges and opportunities Pakistan face when we talk about the ECO framework and how Pakistan is going to address it in this important apex forum?
SCO provides an ideal where Pakistan can discuss about the potential it provides to the member states for investment in CPEC, as well as also highlighted 5 sectors by SEFC. And in that context, Pakistan Prime Minister will get a good opportunity for bilateral talks with the member states, head of organization and states, that they can uh, go for different MOUs as well as agreements. And the 5 sectors Pakistan are going to highlight, I think among those will be the mining sector as well as the agriculture, IT, and large-scale manufacturing establishments. And also from other point of view, what we see that SCO has a mandate on their charter for free trade, and the Central Asian states, they are also rich in energy. So this will be a two-way traffic of energy coming from Central Asian states to Pakistan and going to even China, and from Pakistan, the trade going to the Central Asian states and even beyond Central Asian states to Europe. Because
Right.
we have to understand geopolitically also, the Eurasian landmass is going to be the activity hub for the future century. And for that context also, the Central Asian state get a pivotal, I think, viewpoint from economy as well as from
Right,
geopolitical
right. Brigadier
interests.
Hamid, when we talk about ECO, of course, Prime Minister is going to be holding bilateral meetings as well. What are some of the strategic considerations for Pakistan when we talk about engaging with ECO member states?
Mariam, we have to understand that Pakistan not only provide the connectivity, because Pakistan in the past also has been instrumental in going for the transport framework, transit route framework agreement in the SU countries also, and for the free trade. And if we see within the SU countries, the mutual free trade agreement between the two sovereign states is a common practice. But if this landscape is enlarged and other countries they come, so there will be a sort of union like the European Union we have witnessed in the past. And in these countries also there are two big economies, that Iran and Pakistan. And in future, if there is some expansion and China become part of it, just see the landmass of these three economies they are going to provide, and also the potential for human development these three economies will boost in the region also. So from
Right.
strategic point of view also, this SCO provides an ideal opportunity, and Pakistan being the founding member has been stressing upon the member state for more closer interaction, for more closer trade agreements between the member states.
Right, and Mr. Naveed, when we talk about Pakistan's role, what kind of challenges and opportunities, in your opinion, Pakistan is going to be facing when we talk about pursuing the vision 2025 of ECO?
Pakistan is, I think, the most important country in ECO, because having that long coastal area, we have Karachi and Gwadar and long coastal area, which is very important for Afghanistan and Central Asian states as well, because those countries are landlocked countries, and they all are being facilitated by Pakistan coastal area. So the trade of the Central Asian countries and Afghanistan depends upon Pakistan's coastal area like Karachi or Gwadar. And because of all this advantage which Pakistan have, Afghanistan and Central Asian states will also depend upon all this, and Pakistan can excel in Central Asia. We can have that.
And when we talk about excel in Central Asia, do you think that there have been strategies that have already been employed to enhance trade between Pakistan and these member states of ECO?
Definitely. The ECO countries, including Afghanistan and Pakistan, have that program to invest in each other countries. Pakistan is also looking for investment in those countries, and is inviting the investors of those countries like the Central Asian countries to come to Pakistan and have investment in Pakistan. So the Prime Minister, since Prime Minister has taken over the charge of interim Prime Minister, he has been very active for cultivating the business opportunities from all over the world, especially from from Central Asia, from China, and from Saudi Arabia, UAE. So we see that we will have those investments in Pakistan very soon, which will be cultivated in the years to come.
Of course, and do you think that Pakistan has leveraged its membership of ECO to strengthen its economic ties with these member states?
It is very important because, as I rightly pointed to my colleague, that ECO is a target of Pakistan, how to improve its economic, attract foreign direct investment and become a hub of the trade. Luckily, we have a CPEC, and now within the ECO, as I said earlier, from Karachi, we sent a consignment. So we were working since the RC day that to establish a connectivity which has now materialized since 2 years from the Pakistan, Iran, Turkey, and going to the Azerbaijan and Pakistan, Iran, and 10 to Central Asian state. Then Pakistan, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan trade network. And obviously when Prime Minister will be in the Tashkent and on the sidelines, he will be meeting the Uzbekistan president. Definitely he will be raising this issue, how we'll further expedite the process of materializing this track. So in this context, as I said that earlier was pointed out that the Pakistan has a big coastal line and the Gwadar port is there. We have other 2 ports. Central Asian states are landlocked states, and definitely our bilateral connectivity and multilateral connectivity, which was the theme, or you can say our diplomats have been projecting in the last 5 years, definitely they are going to enhance and our cooperation with the states, infrastructure network, and making this entire region of the 10 states which are geographically linked as and improving the security, economic prosperity of the states.
Coming towards the security, how can ECO strengthen its role in promoting political support and coordination among the ECO member states?
Mariam, it's understandable that ECO is meant for multilateral economic coordination, but everyone is aware this region's economic backwardness is due to insecurity in the region, and this region has been a victim of terrorism since last 23-24 years. And all the ECO members, whether it's Iran, whether it's Turkey, whether Pakistan, whether Central Asian states like Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, they all are victim of militant, radicalized militancy. Definitely when we are there, and we are now biggest sufferer, and we have suffered because of the Taliban, or what you call it, Afghan Taliban government's non-cooperation on the issue of terrorism. And definitely the other states have concerns of it. So in this kind of a forum, even if it is economic connectivity, tourism, trade, but everyone is aware if there is no stability, if there is no security, there will be no trade, there will be no tourism, there will be no economic investment or scientific innovation.
So have there been any instances in the recent part where ECO has played its role in collaboration, in fostering collaboration among the member states, specifically for fostering political dialogue?
No, my understanding is that, of course, this is a multilateral forum. Their main focus would be remain at the forum level on the what you call it economic, trade, connectivity, culture connectivity, scientific connectivity, and investment. But we do not forget when such meetings takes place, and especially face to face. These forums are very important, not only because of what they are discussing at the forum or actually what is the objective of the organization. The sidelines meetings. The sidelines meetings provide an opportunity which are informal, but they become a more formal impact. So on the sideline meeting, the political, the strategic issues are always discussed,
of course,
and they will be discussed.
Of course, that is very important. So Brigadier Hamid, in your opinion, what is Pakistan's vision for ECO and future work of ECO, specifically when we align it to Vision 2025 of ECO?
Pakistan would like that the Vision 2025 should materialize as early as possible. Up till now, what we have seen, that despite having a lot of potential SCO member state possess, they have not been able to materialize it economically, tangibly, and also for the human development of their masses. In that context, Pakistan is again pursuing the member states, and what we have seen in the past 2-3 months, Pakistan Prime Minister meeting with the ambassadors of the SCO countries as well as our
ECO.
foreign minister when he went and addressed the member of council of the ministers, he was very candid in saying that the practical steps should be taken and the SCO countries should move toward a green transition and sustainable development. In that context, I think caretaker prime minister will also would like to urge all the heads of the state of the SCO countries that they should go for concrete steps for
ECO, Brigadier
modernizing
Hamid,
the
ECO. We are discussing
ECO,
ECO.
sorry, ECO. And in
Yeah,
that
it's all right.
context, I think if we see that the charter of the ECO provides 5 fundamental subjects on which development should be made, that is trade, that is transport and connectivity, energy and tourism. And these, I think the subjects need stability, these need peace, and also that the people can move one point to other. And tangibly, what we have seen, one of the failure of the ECO countries not to materialize their vision up till now is the instability in Afghanistan. And
Right,
I
of
would
course.
like to agree with our colleagues that they pointed out that on the sidelines, all the heads of state of the ECO will get an opportunity
Of course,
to interact
that is
with
going
the
to be
Afghan
significant.
leaders.
Let me take the discussion to the studios. Mr. Naveed, of course, what needs to be done so that ECO remains a relevant forum, like we have not seen much progress in the previous summits, specifically when we talk about role of Pakistan?
Mariam, in fact, the role of Pakistan is very important as far as the ECO is concerned, because we are facing terrorism in our country, and that terrorism is being originated from Afghanistan. And we have talked to the Afghan authorities many times, and we have a very serious concern about law and order situation in Pakistan. Taliban Pakistan is clearly and very openly they are involved, and they are behind this terrorism in Pakistan. The role of Afghanistan is also very important. China has invested more than $400 million in Afghanistan, and they have sent their ambassador in Afghanistan. So they have close ties just to engage them on economic matters, just to convince them that they should leave the arms aside and come and become the part of economic activity. So if we take Afghanistan and we give opportunity to Afghanistan, and Afghanistan should also avail that opportunity to become an active part of ECO and have and cultivate benefits out of CPEC, then we can, I think, go ahead. As far as ECO is concerned. So the role of Afghanistan and Pakistan will be very important. The most important thing is law and order situation.
Of course, we will be touching about law and order situation later in the program. But when we talk about ECO's future direction, how should Pakistan play its role so that ECO remains relevant, specifically when we talk about regional connectivity and fostering prosperity among the member states?
I think that ECO is relevant because region is connective, and there are many regional connectivity programs out there. For example, Central Asian corridor is there, built by the Chinese, China-Pakistan economic corridor here, and they are working on the China-Iran corridor as well. So by this way the trend is in favor of ECO's connectivity. So the question that how we further increase these intra-regional trade, which is unfortunately below the expectation, because if you see the intra-ECO trade, it is lesser than the individual states trade or external trade. So there are many areas like industry, cooperation in the industrial build-up. There is a trade, of course they are doing a trade. Tourism, we can increase the tourism, and every country has a tourism attraction, and we can make a joint ECO tourism organization. Then there is a need to, we have a ECO universities because the students' connectivity, Basically, if you see in the ECO's one agenda is engineering and
Yes.
innovation in scientific. So why not there could be an ECO scientific university or this kind
Right.
of a thing.
So is this part of Vision 2025 of ECO?
There is a part and there is a need to further increase it. If you see last year ECO celebrated its 30th years of existence. And not when we are looking to 2025, certainly these are the areas, but we have to keep in mind that overwhelming countries of this members of the ECO are lesser developed
Right.
technologically. We can here put somewhere Turkey out, but there's need to cooperate. Without technological development or educational cooperation, this ECO will not move ahead.
Of course, that is very important, that ECO is significant for the member state, but also for the region, for regional prosperity, and this Apex Forum is very significant. Now we'll be talking about the situation in Gaza. Of course, with every hour, the number of deaths is increasing, and now the death toll has risen to more than 10,000. And of course, UN has also called Gaza the graveyard of children. And this is very important, and what international community is doing for ceasefire efforts, are these efforts enough? What's your take on the current situation in Gaza and overall in Palestine, Brigadier Hamid?
Mariam, if we see the latest situation of Gaza, I think it is a very sorry state of affairs, not only for Arabs, for complete world. And only, I think, opportunity available to the world is to make UN cry, which is not sufficient to save the innocent children, women, and Palestinians from the barbaric hostilities of the Israelis. And I'm really surprised, and it should be, I think, an eye-opener for the world when Israeli ministers saying that they want to have nuclear strike on Gaza. See their barbaric and belligerent attitude toward the innocent civilians
Right,
of
this is
Gaza,
shocking, of
Palestinian. And on the other hand, I think the silver lining is now the civil society globally, and we have seen that America is now also distancing from the hardline approach of the Israelis. They are demanding that the humanitarian assistance should be provided to the Palestinians, to which Israeli is not paying any heed. But I think with the time passing by, they will also feel that pressure. Up till now, 7 countries have broken their diplomatic ties with the Israelis. And with the international community's momentum building up, the Israelis will have to bite to that pressure. And in that, I would also like to highlight United Nations Secretary General.
Right. Let me take the same
that-
question to the studios, Mr. Naveed. UN and 18 relevant agencies of United Nations has issued a joint statement calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. How significant is this development and this joint statement in which they have expressed their shock and horror at the atrocities committed by Israeli forces?
Mariam, first of all, I'll answer the point raised by Brigadier Saab. America is not distancing. America is playing double game. America is patting shoulders of Israel in this war, and America has sent its 2 aircraft carriers in the region, and also provided arms to Israel to carry on. And on the other hand, American Foreign Minister is playing his role by visiting different parts of the region, especially Israel, and asking to stop that war, but not favoring Israel. So this is double game, and America is giving that time to Israel to carry on. So number 2 is the role of Security Council. Yes, it is very important. It should have started earlier, much earlier, when the war started. But nevertheless, And it
Right,
has
right. Dr. Jaspal, what's your take on this recent OIC meeting that has been called by Saudi Arabia that would be held on November 12th, and Pakistani Prime Minister would also be participating in this meeting, and Gaza issue would be discussed in the meeting. How do you see that West is going to be responding to this OIC summit? How significant is this development?
I think that this meeting has been called earlier. But anyway, something is better than nothing. Prime Minister of Pakistan definitely highlighting the concerns of the Pakistani people and Pakistani state together. And Pakistan, as from the very beginning, our foreign minister had made a very clear stance on it, and we made a clear sort of thing. Now, your question regarding the Western, let me say it. Western government's conscience is dead over the genocide of the Palestinians, because all the governments in line with the President Biden are supportive to the Israel's actions. They are not demanding of the ceasefire. In Germany and in France, they banned the protest in favor of the Palestine. This is not coming from a democratic societies. But the good news is that all the Western nations, the common man, the intellectuals, they are demonstrating. So Western governments, if conscience is dead, the Western people's conscience is alive. They are against the genocide of the Palestinians.
Do you think it would be effective in putting enough pressure on the governments?
Though this is the important point, that's why you are seeing now change in these demonstrations as a broad affair for the Democrats. Former President Obama categorically stated that the President Biden has to take it that the Hamas, you can say, act on October 27th was not out of the box. It has a continuity. Now, coming back towards your OIC, definitely OIC has an impact. And the governments in the...
What are your expectations from this
I think the government, I have a great expectation that especially we have to provide them humanitarian support.
Right.
OIC is not going to recommend, and no one is recommending, that the Syrians, Egyptians, or what you call it, Lebanese, their government start attacking on go for a military action against Israel, because the reason is Israel and America is looking how to target these states, and then instead of entangling there or Iran. But why these things are happening now? It's almost 1 month past,
yes.
And more than 1 month. And nearly 1 month, sorry. And they were talking about that when the Israelis air raids start, within 2 days they will control, and then
but better late than never, of course.
But the destruction of the buildings, I understand that the air raids or the conventional bombs also destroy, but the penetration of these bombs impact. I'm just hypothetically speaking, alarming that maybe Israelis are using depleted uranium in their ammunition. And second is, don't forget, their heritage minister, who is a cabinet member of the Netanyahu, said we have to use the atomic devices. Now, it also confirms that what the international estimates say, that 90 plus devices or weapons, nuclear weapons Israel possesses. Now, it confirmed by this statement of their minister. So the situation is very gruesome, and OIC definitely has to take, or I'm expecting will take, a very confirmed stand on it.
Right. Brigadier Hamid, in your opinion, what specific international conventions or laws are being violated when we talk about the recent Israeli aggression regarding schools, ambulances, hospitals attack, and what accountability mechanisms are in place to address these issues?
Humanitarian laws, all social, ethic and morality laws has been violated by Israel. And when we come to the international laws and conventions, first I think is the Geneva Convention, and also the Genocide Convention of 1948. And that is why now the people globally are demanding that this genocide of the Palestinians should be taken seriously, and the Israeli leadership and as well as their war mongers should be prosecuted under the International Criminal Court Charter. And in that case, I think this should be made a test case for all those who not only harbor and sponsor terrorism, that is state terrorism, against the innocent people world over. And
Right,
in
of
that
course,
case,
mechanisms
not
are in
only the
place, but
United
the
Nations, but
implementation of
also
these
OIC should
mechanisms,
demand that.
right. Right, mechanisms are in place, but their implementation remains questionable. So, when we talk about situation within Gaza, what are some of the immediate humanitarian needs in Gaza, and are they being provided to people over there, and what are the challenges the aid agencies are facing?
Mariam, the aid is insufficient, and gate is not being allowed to enter. The aid is not reaching to Gaza as it should reach. It is halted in Egypt. The most important thing is the provision of paramedical staff, the doctors, the medicines, food for those who are waiting for that. The children are waiting for milk or water, everything they need. At now, because of that severe bombardment, they are shocked whenever there is any bombardment in that region. They face that trauma. They are under trauma, and the international community will have to intervene and ask Israel to stop, to go for ceasefire immediately. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for those who will be there
Right.
facing suffering.
Of course. Dr. Jaspat, lastly, how do you see in coming days this situation unfolding, and are there any hopes for the ceasefire or de-escalation?
I think that we must hope for good, and there is a need for Americans to work over the ceasefire. But unfortunately, the trends are not in favor of that. The Americans and the Israelis think that if there is a ceasefire, then they are giving a life or accepting the Hamas. That's not correct. The best solution is the two-nation state solution, which the Russians and Chinese have been demanding in the United Nations Security Council.
The entire world is demanding that.
And the entire world is also demanding, all of the world very rightly pointed out. Now, in this context, the problem is that this war is going to expand in the neighborhood. If you see on the
That is
northern,
alarming.
Hezbollah has already started, the Houthis have already started attacking, and then the Iran is making very serious, expressing concerns. Israel attacked on the Damascus, but they didn't respond. But how you see it, that people are coming, and my worst fear is that the probability of Islamic nationalism in the MENA, this militant radicalization in the region, and this anti-Americanism or anti-Western, you can say these aspirations will be gaining the momentum or more strength in the entire Muslim world. So it's not good for the international security or regional security and stability.
Of course, that is very important that the world must act now when we talk about situation in Palestine. Now we'll be moving towards the recent surge in violent attacks in Pakistan. Of course, law enforcement agencies of Pakistan are countering these attacks. But Brigadier Hamid, what are the reasons behind this recent surge of terrorist attacks in Pakistan?
We need to understand that Pakistan is facing very complex, intricate security situation, not now, but for past 25 years. The instability in Afghanistan provides an ideal opportunity for hostile intelligence agencies to use their territory to harbor and sponsor attacks against Pakistani civilians and also the armed forces establishments. And in the last 3-4 months, we have seen that they have been targeting our military establishments and also installations. We have to understand that Afghanistani population or the TTP being supported by the Taliban of Afghanistan, as well as our splinter militant groups of BLA are being supported by the Indian RAW intelligence agencies, and even we think the Americans and the Israelis may be also supporting them through using soil and the facilities of Afghanistan. And in the recent attacks, we have witnessed that the weapons and equipment left
Right.
by the NATO countries in Afghanistan
Of course,
has
that
been
is very important
used
that
by
there
the
are
terrorists.
reports that US left weapons are being openly sold in Afghanistan. So, Dr. Jaspal, what are implications of these reports that US left weapons are openly sold in Afghanistan, and how they are going to be impacting security situation not only in Afghanistan but in the neighborhood, including Pakistan?
Pakistani security analysts have been highlighting this issue since the beginning, that the American leftover weapons and the American weapons which were when they were Afghans who joined the army and then immediately they left over, they sent the army, and at that time it was concerned. But today the entire Afghanistan is under the control of the Taliban, and these weapons are in the custody or were in the custody of the Taliban. So if they are openly sold in the Afghanistan, it means that Taliban has no rate. But on the other side, Taliban has a very strict rate there. So if Taliban are not economous, or with their permission, if these weapons are not given to these, you can say, terrorist groups, provided financially supported by the India, then definitely there is something we have to think. My understanding is that these weapons, which are very lethal, very modern, they have been captured, and these weapons have been provided by our adversaries from our neighboring states, and these in order to destabilize the country. So Pakistan has to take a stand, and we have taken already a firm stand. But of course, we have to salute the martyrs of the Pakistan and young soldiers and the commission officers, that how they are fighting and repealing, or you can say spoiling the entire designs of the terrorist organization.
Right, and how does this current surge in terrorist attacks impact Pakistan law enforcement agencies' efforts to maintain security along the borders?
It affects, but law enforcement agencies are very vigilantly working on that area, in particular Balochistan and KPK. The problem is this, that we need not have any negotiations with Taliban now. We will have to crush them by all means, because they are the terrorists, especially the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan. And the Afghan Taliban, they are on the back of Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan. We need to understand that nexus, India, Afghan Taliban and Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is working against Pakistan. The armed forces will have to enhance its intelligence-based operations in Balochistan and KPK against those terrorists. Either they are BLA or they are TTP or any other group. As far as those weapons are concerned, which America left in Afghanistan, those weapons were deliberately left in Afghanistan because America knew that these people are, they fight always with each other. These weapons will be used either within Afghanistan against each other or with the neighboring countries. Both ways, that tactic will serve the American purpose, and it is already serving. We have witnessed, and we have we have come to know that the weapons which are used against Pakistan and recovered from TTP are those American weapons, most lethal and sophisticated weapons.
Of course, the situation in Afghanistan has impacted its neighborhood, including Pakistan. Thank you very much, Mr. Naveed Aman, for joining us in today's program. Thank you very much, Dr. Zafar Nawaz Jaspal, for joining us in today's program. Thank you very much, Brigadier Retired Hamid Malik, for joining us in today's program. Of course, there has been a surge in terrorist attacks in Pakistan in the recent days, but of course, Pakistani law enforcement agencies are countering these attacks, and of course we salute our martyrs who are fighting for the country, and of course Pakistani government is also committed to fight against these terrorist elements. That's all from our side. Take care. Allah Hafiz.